Okay, today we're going to clean the carburetor on a Stihl MS251, the Wood Boss, and the reason is because it's a hard start. Once it gets running, everything's fine. So we're going to just clean up the carburetor. Might be a little dirt. What I think, it's just sat for a very long time, so the gas is just kind of evaporated out and left something in the carburetor that's causing it to not function correctly. And this carburetor is on about 3 different saw models. When I was looking to replace it, because I really don't like cleaning carburetors anymore. But unfortunately with Stihl, you got to go through a dealer to get parts. I did see one genuine Stihl part on eBay, but I'm kind of leery of eBay, even though I sell on eBay. But anyway, that's kind of a buyer beware situation. And I did not go downtown to the shop and price it and figure it all out. So I'm just going to go old school here, take off the carburetor, take it apart, hose it down, clean it up, and put it back together and see how it works. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to drain the gas. I'm going to remove the bar, because that bar is a pain in the butt. It just takes up so much space on the workbench. I'm just going to remove it and be done with it. Then we'll take the cover off, or we'll take the cover off, remove the bar, drain the gas, you know, in any order like that. So those are the first 3 steps. Alright, gas is out. Take the top off, and next is the bar. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to back off the chain a little bit, back off the tension on the chain, and I'm going to finish removing the nut. And what you want to notice on this particular one is that it only has 1 nut. The vast majority of chainsaws have 2. So what we have here is the hold down nut and the chain tensioner access hole. Believe it or not, that was 100% clean before I started. I cut down 2 trees, cut all the limbs off of them, chopped up the trunk a little bit, and that's what accumulated. So that'll need to be cleaned up again. The chain and blade off and set that aside. Stupid things are sharp too. Alright, now we have a nice little compact machine we can work on here. Make life a little bit easier. Okay, the hardest part of this job is not hitting the camera while I take it apart, because the camera is right where I need to be. But anyway, air cleaner. So it twists off. It doesn't pull off. You can see there's a little oval shape in there, and then there's a little place that the oval part of the air cleaner goes on there and locks into place. Let me show you that. I know black on black is difficult to see, but there's like a little lip on there. You can see a little tab or whatnot, and then the oval part of the air cleaner goes on there. You just kind of work it in here, click, and there's even an arrow on here. So we'll take the air cleaner off. Let me get my screwdriver here. Taking it off once already. There we go. So it just pops right off. Then you just fish it out. You know, it's a Z-bend. So you just kind of fish it out. It's only going to go on one way. Alright, let me get those, finish getting those nuts out of there. Alright, first of all, I almost hate to admit this, but I cannot tell you how much I struggled to get onto this nut right here. I mean, I struggled and struggled and struggled and struggled. I got the first one out okay when I switched from metric to standard. Got the 5, I'm off camera. I got the first one out okay when I switched from metric to standard, got it out with the 5/16. But here I am in there again, and I just could not get on the nut until I went to the 8mm, and it finally clicked into place. I just could not believe how difficult it was for me to get on there. I couldn't figure it out. Standard or metric, standard or metric. It was just driving me nuts. So anyway, finally, ta-da! Absolutely insane. What is that thing? The problem is the access holes. I mean, for an 8mm to get in there, I almost went on the lathe and just turned it down. But it was just so tight. It was just ridiculously tight. Insane. So I almost turned my tool down, and I'm going to measure these guys again, and I'm going to put in text what it measured to, and then because I know when I put the nut in the socket, both tools work. Here, let me show you. See, here's the 8mm, and my labels are coming off upside down. Here's the 5/16. If you put it in the correct end, here's the 5/16. It's on there. So I don't know what's going on. It's insane. And the problem is more with the access holes than anything else. That one was super tight for some reason. My 5/16 and my 8mm both just would not go in there. So I finally just worked it in. It just popped in. I know it was off camera, but struggle is real. Alright, calipers say 8mm. So I'm officially declaring it 8mm. That's what I used to take it out with. Alright, next thing I'm working on is these rubber mounts here. See, I push that one off, and I've got one over here on this side with the choke. Now the choke can only move with the trigger. You have to release the trigger. Here, let's zoom in here. See how it unlocks when I pull the trigger. So if you need to move this lever, you may have to pull the trigger. Of course, this is a lock for the trigger. And the trigger is a lock for the choke. Wonderful stuff. Your safety from Lawyers of America. Alright, with the two little rubber hold downs out of the way here, we can move this piece out of the way. You can see it's all wired down. Let me twist it and turn it and get it out of the way. And then that frees up the carburetor. Let's see what all's connected to it. Got more junk connected to it underneath here. Let me see what that is. Under pressure. So I don't know if I recorded it. I'll know in editing, but I'm not going to look at it right now. So anyway, when I popped the fuel line off, it spit out some gas, and I had to clean it up. And ta-da! The carburetor is out. Boy, that was a pain in the butt. About the only nice thing that I really do like about it is if you can see the throttle just moves that lever. So it's not connected, it's not like a Z-bend. It just pushes this up here So that's nice. You don't have to fish it out with a Z-bend like I did with the choke on the other side over here. And there's your lock. Oh, I see. When you open up the throttle, it unlocks the choke. So that's how that works. Alright, I put down a clean rag for my OR. And I guess I could just clean out the fuel path and the air path. I actually learned that on my lawnmower. I should probably redo that video. But it's very important that you clean out the air paths as well as the fuel paths. I mean, every video on YouTube that does a carburetor shows cleaning out the fuel path, but no one really talks about the air path. Very, very important. I will say maybe there's one video out there that talks about cleaning out the air path. So anyway, we have a top and a bottom, or a bottom and a top, whatever it is, and I'm gonna pull those off and look for dirt and grime, clean everything up, and let's go. Alright, I have my coffee, my light, which I really like. I got this little light here for working on the car. It has a magnetic base, bright, high, low, and a little light here on the end. So that's pretty cool. It recharges with a USB and a mini port. So that's pretty nice. Of course, I'm on a wooden table, so it's not sticking. But anyway, here we go. Looks like I'm going to need screwdrivers to get started and some clean gloves. I think I might wear my blue ones. These are a little bit better than the medical nitrile ones. These are kind of chemically resistant. Yeah, industrial use. Alright, let me get the blue gloves on and get going. Alright, what I found in my lifetime of taking things apart and hopefully putting them back together is that these little stubby screwdrivers, and I have a lot of Craftsman, which are crap screwdrivers to begin with, but I found that the stubby screwdriver like this one has the best tips on them. You can also get a good grip when they're in there tight, especially these little guys right here. It's hard to say how tight they're in until I start taking it apart, but I'm going to start with the bottom here. I'm going to take these screws out and see what we got. Alright, I use my handy dandy little Craftsman tool here, stubby screwdriver, which is pretty much the only Craftsman screwdriver I like out of the entire lot. But anyway, I broke all those 4 screws loose, and let's see what's underneath there. And we have the diaphragm. Alright, well, it seems to be in good shape. Got a little bit of fuel in it, which makes sense. So I'll carefully inspect both sides of the diaphragm. You know, so really that's the fuel pump. You know, as air goes in there and vacuum from the piston goes in there, the two kind of pulse, and that pulsating moves this up and down, and that pumps fuel out. Did you see it? Little bit of fuel squirt out there. So that's how that works. So let's see if I can get that off of there. Jeez, I'm struggling to stay on camera here. So you know, I have my little cleaning tips here. Saw some dirt. Gonna clean it out a little bit. I'm still gonna spray it down with carburetor spray. But I want to get some of the sensitive material out of the way. Also, I see they started in the wrong place and then came over, but fun stuff. So I have my razor scraper here. I'm going to try and get that off without doing any damage because I don't have an overhaul kit. And this is why I don't overhaul carburetors anymore. Got it off. I don't know whether that was glued down or just naturally stuck because it's a very flat surface. But anyway, I need to scrape all of that off. I need to investigate all underneath the needle here. Make sure there's no dirt and crap in there. So I'm going to do that. Alright, I'm getting it cleaned up. And just as a side note, I only have two stroke pieces of equipment left. This chainsaw and a leaf blower. And both of them, I'm going electric after this. So the leaf blower I think is kind of wearing out. Probably go electric early next year, do a review on that. And this chainsaw, I may have to buy an overhaul kit for the carburetor, but anyway, in the meantime, when this thing goes out, it's going to turn into electric on my next purchase, I can guarantee you that. Alright, let's see what we're getting into on this end. Alright, some fuel. Clean that up a little bit. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to blow in here. I've got the choke open and the throttle open, and let's see if the fuel is clear into the fuel receiving area. Okay, with the needle up, that works. Alright, the screen looks clean. So I really don't see anything. I haven't found anything. So something must be in the passages, a little bit of dirt, you know, just a few crumbs. So now it's time to just hose everything out. I could take that plastic piece out. It's keyed. If you look over there to the right, you can see it's keyed right there. But I don't know if I'm going to take that out. We'll see. So the throttle's pretty cool. It's just a cone. So you just turn that black piece in and out, and the throttle position will ride on that cone, either up or down. So that's pretty simple, pretty cool. Okay, if you do want to inspect the needle, you're going to need a T5. Yeah, that's right, the teeny tiny T5. And I'm here to tell you that sucker is in there too. So I'm turning it by hand, but that isn't how I got it started. I needed a handle on there. I actually used my screwdriver. I didn't activate it. I just used the screwdriver for leverage. It's going to be fun putting this back together, I can tell you that. Alright, so there's our needle. I don't know if it's dirty or heat treated or what, but I'll clean that up a little bit. It's spray time. I'm not going to show it on camera, but because I'm going to go outside. But anyway, I've removed everything that can be removed that the spray could blow out of the way. And I'm going to go in every single hole, both the fuel and the air holes, both. Alright, carburetor is officially clean, says me. So hopefully if there was a piece of dirt or something in there, I cleared it out and it'll function correctly. I did learn one thing after all these years. You see that screen? You know what that is? That's in front of the needle. So if you blow your spray through there, it'll come out the screen. And that's where your needle goes. Alright, well, it's reassembly time. Alright, we're back in. I couldn't really show you everything because my thumb was over the top here keeping everything compressed. So I put the needle on the plunger. It's not really a float or anything. This bar going across here that locks everything down, I had that off to the side here, had the spring sticking straight up, and I was holding it so the spring wouldn't, fall over. Started to screw, and then I put everything in place, put the needle in, and then slid the bar underneath the screw, and now I just have it finger tight, and I'll put some oomph on it. It was pretty tight to get it off of there. So anyway, it is functioning. That's a good thing. Alright, next on this side where the one screw goes in the middle, and that's a through hole. I don't think it's a jet though, but it's definitely a through hole, goes right up into the body. Yeah, I looked at the screw. If it's a jet, the screw doesn't have holes in it. Anyway, this is keyed. There are 2 pins on there, and you can see they go here and here, and then you can also see how it's cut to make sure you put it on there correctly. So it's just cut in a certain way. You see that little angle right there? See that little angle? It's not square 4 corners. So can't really put it on backwards. And yes, I did look underneath there, make sure everything was clean and nice before I put it back together. Alright, that's nice and tight. Now, if I did get an overhaul kit, the only thing I would probably use is the diaphragm. Over time these things get stiff, but this thing's only about 2 or 3 years old, so definitely going to reuse it. The 2 little holes in the back there, they go over here, so that's going to be your guide. And of course, I kind of tore it up a little bit, so I know that side's down, but you can see that side is down. The little small button is on top. The 2 little holes go to your high and low adjustment screw, so that's how that's going to go on. Okay, well, it turns out you can't screw this up putting this on because there's a guide pin right there, and even though they have 2 slots for the guide pin, you're only going to be able to put it on one way. You're not going to be able to put it on the other way. It won't fit. Put it on this way, it fits in the guide pin, and that, as they say, is that. Let's see. Put the small side up, holes to the adjustment, airflow high and low adjustment. Put this on, 4 screws back in. Alright, to finish up, I'm going to tighten them up by hand. I may use my gun to really snug it down, but I'm not going to operate it. I'm just going to use the settings on here to tighten it down like that, just for the final torque, to get some oomph on there. So in case you didn't know, if you have these electric screwdrivers, if you don't activate it, you can use it like a regular screwdriver. Now you got some torquage here, and you want to be nice, and you want to use a good bit. You want to use the correct size, is the number 2, and get them nice and snug. Okay, reassembly. You really can't put the throttle on backwards. This little black plastic piece goes in the back, your throttle over here. Goes on the right. So this little vent here is going to go in this plastic piece right here. So we'll start it and connect the fuel line and slide it in place here. Let me get that going. Fun stuff. Get my little connector here. Carefully put that on. Plastic. 100% all the way. Make sure we're good and flush. I don't really see any dirt there. I don't know how I'm going to get this in. We'll see how this is going to go here. So I started this side over here, and then I'll fit this end over here. Let's see how that works. Yeah, that worked. It was just really fun. You have to maneuver the carburetor. It kind of floats in there. It's like a rubber gasket between the carburetor and the cylinder, which makes it the intake manifold. I don't know. And I just kind of maneuvered it till these were lined up, and then it popped in place. Now I just need to finagle this end in here. Looks like it's going to go in pretty easy. Yeah, that's just going to pop right into place as soon as I work it in. There's a little barb on there. Yep, it's in. Alright, we're in. Okay, I'll hook that wire up, and that'll see, I can maneuver it now, but as soon as I put the wire in place, the connector, I'll need to use the throttle to operate the choke here. So the wire's real easy to remember because you have a Z and then it just snaps in right here. Fun stuff. There's a Z connection. I'll just use my pliers here to lock it down. Looks like it gets locked down in kind of a mid-range position here. Am I going to let you watch me struggle, or am I going to cut the camera off here? I don't know. There we go. Working on it. Oops. Thought I had it. There we go. I know it doesn't look like it's on all the way, but it is. It's you can look to the side here and see that it's down all the way, sorta. I'll work it in. Alright, next is the air cleaner holder, and the orientation are the two screws and nuts. They go in the sides here. This top piece is the air feed, so you won't be able to put it on upside down. It won't fit. It's keyed. I know it's tough to see black on black, but it's keyed. So you got 3 holes, 1 at the top, 2 on the side. Alright, I don't have much time left. Coffee's almost gone. So let's see. Oh, that went on real easy. Now for those damn screws. Let's see if I can get them back in. Remember, I declared them to be 8 millimeters. Fun stuff. Alright, I actually got one started, but for some reason this side was the tough side for me. So I think I'm gonna tilt this up so that I don't have to fight it. Alright, I have both screws started. You might be able to see them in there. Now it's just a matter of tightening it up, and the socket is just really tight in these slots here. Thought about going on the lathe and turning that down a little bit. I have some extra 8 millimeters. I could sacrifice this one, but we'll see. See, the problem is getting that sucker out of there. You know, once it's tight, once I have the nut tight on there, great, yay, but it's stuck in there. Whereas to get them out, I could just turn it, and that would help the socket come out. Well, now it's tight, I can't turn the socket. So I get to fight that thing. If I can get it off of the nut, there we go, pulled it out. Anyway, it's just a ridiculously tight fit. So anyway, fun stuff. Alright, now I just got it snug. I mean, I didn't go crazy on this thing. Let me move the camera. So I got to do the wiggle jiggle, so just kind of wiggle it and jiggle it, which I didn't show off because I did it off camera, but I was able to wiggle it a little bit and it came out. Alright, that's cleaner. And use just carb cleaner on there. Carb cleaner, brake cleaner, you know, whatever. I have the most of at the moment. Happened to be carb cleaner because I was using it to clean the carb. And then the cover plate, which I lost a chain and did some damage to it. But anyway, I have a new one on order. I had it marked on eBay. There's some damage there. But then Amazon came in and beat him. But you have to be careful because this particular one only has one hole in it. That's the tensioner, and that's the lockdown, the cover plate lockdown. So be very careful when ordering parts. You need to, I think the carburetor that I just overhauled is only on, out of the bazillion chainsaws that this company makes, it's maybe 3 models. The 251, I think it's C, 251C or S, I can't remember, I should have looked it up, has a different carburetor, completely different setup. I mean, you can easily access everything. Just be very careful if you order carburetors and just swap out the carburetor, because that's what I was going to do initially, but I decided to do a overhaul, little old school, just see if there was some pieces of dirt in there or something that I could eject out and get this thing to start correctly. So we'll see. So here's the damage I did. You can see I chipped all of this out, dug into the guard here, did some damage up here. See, I broke it right there, and that's all from the chain coming off. You can see I dug in right there. It's a sharp chain. Tell you, chainsaw is very, very dangerous. You just have to be of a serious mind when you do something with a chainsaw. I'm not kidding. I can't tell you how many safety meetings I've been to, you know, literally thousands. Worked in the shipyard, worked in the nuclear industry, both in the commercial and the classified section. And out of the thousands and thousands of safety meetings, I cannot tell you that it's just so easy to get hurt. Just got to be careful. Anyway, I have a new one of these on order. My whole point is really, I had it marked on eBay for such a long time, and then I looked on Amazon and they had one on Amazon. And since I'm Amazon Prime, I went ahead and ordered it. And again, for like the 3rd or 4th time in this video, you need to be careful with this particular model in that there's just one hold down nut that goes in here, and then that's the tensioner for the chain tensioner adjustment. There isn't 2. The vast majority of them have 2. Alright. Also, unbelievably, look, 2 screws missing. They are captured screws, and so anyway, I have a couple of screws here. I'm going to fit them in there, but they aren't going to stay like this one. And that stupid sucker's 12 bucks, so I'm not paying $24 for 2 damn screws. So I'm going to put that in there. I've got a little spacer in there. Of course, I could also cut it. But anyway, fun stuff. Oh, I don't know if I told you what the thread size was. It was M5 by 0.8. So that was fun. Problem solved. Thank you for watching.